The United States government is sitting on an $850 billion secret. What if they could unlock it without raising taxes, adding debt, or printing a single dollar? And what if they use that war chest to buy Bitcoin? The Federal Reserve just laid out a playbook on exactly how they would do that. It's the same trick that 5 other countries have already pulled off. We'll talk about the implications of this and Donald Trump's latest executive order, which states that Americans will now be able to use their 401ks to invest into Bitcoin. Bad math says that about $1.2 trillion in capital are going to flow into Bitcoin from these two things. Not bad. I got a deep cut for us today on a silent U.S. government bailout and more. We got a lot to cover. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
Trump last night came out and talked about crypto assets being eligible for 401ks. I mean, that's a monster pool of capital. And what we're just seeing is through these treasury companies, through all kinds of different avenues, the aperture of being able to buy crypto being widened and widened and widened. More avenues bringing people into the tent. I think one of the things that I actually didn't even comprehend is these treasury companies have done so well. The public equity markets are so much bigger than what the crypto markets were. And so as we're really broadening our reach through public equities into our asset class, you're just seeing tons of money pour in.
Okay, this is a big deal. Donald Trump signed an executive order on Thursday that will allow Americans to invest into Bitcoin with their 401ks. A lot of people might get this confused. They might say, Dante, but we could already buy Bitcoin from Wall Street with ETFs. Yes, that's post-tax dollars. Dollars that you may use to buy Bitcoin in a brokerage account or an IRA, but not with pre-tax money. This unlocks a whole new investment. Not only will you be able to contribute a lot more, $23,500 in 2025 with 401k money, $31,000 if you're over 50, and $69,000 in a solo 401k as a business owner. These are considered pre-tax contributions, but you would always need a fiduciary to sponsor it. This is where the majority of American wealth is. In fact, it's estimated that $8 to $10 trillion worth of assets are sitting in 401ks. So if Bitcoin captured just 5% of this market, well, that's $400 billion. This is combined with incessant buying from Bitcoin treasury companies, which have purchased 545,000 Bitcoin, or 2.5% of the network, in 2025 alone. ETFs have bought 360,000 Bitcoin, or 1.5% of the network so far this year. There is currently much more buying than there is Bitcoin being made or sold. This is pretty bullish for Bitcoin if you ask me. Grok is super bullish. It thinks because of this, there's going to be a supply squeeze. And we're going to end up seeing 175K Bitcoin before the end of the year. That's not me that said that, Billy. That's the AI. Okay, let's go back to the Donald Trump thing for 1 second. As part of the executive order, it said that Americans will also be able to invest into alternative assets and private equity assets and real estate. We all know that this is a silent government bailout, right? Private equity right now is in trouble. They're stuck holding a bunch of companies on paper that haven't been able to be marked up, and they can't lever them with more debt because of the high interest rates. So they're burning cash right now. So they're offloading them to us. A mini bailout. Congratulations. The same is true not only for private equity and private equity companies, but real estate also, which is owned majority by private equity. The Blackstones and BlackRocks of the world own a majority of single-family homes in America, and right now, there's a lot more selling than buying. In fact, in June, there was 500,000 more sellers than there were buyers. People can't sell these homes, and people can't afford them. That's a deep cut for today. But on to the next story. The big story. The $850 billion secret that the Federal Reserve just dropped. This might be a budget-neutral plan for them to buy Bitcoin. And I'll tell you why. No joke, the Federal Reserve released a paper highlighting how they could revalue gold in order to purchase or acquire strategic assets or reduce their debt. They researched how this has been done in 5 other places before: Italy, St. Martin, Germany, South Africa, and Lebanon. So here's the deal. Gold is currently valued on their balance sheet at $42.2 an ounce. It's currently worth in the market $3,300 an ounce. So if they own 261 million ounces of gold, well, that means that they have an $850 billion unrealized gain. The paper highlights that there's 2 things that other countries have already done. Germany in 1997, Lebanon in 2002, and South Africa in 2024 used the sale of strategic assets or the revaluing of strategic assets in order to buy or fund a treasury account. So with no debt issuance, no taxes, they're able to raise money, a budget neutral way to buy Bitcoin. They can sell the gold and immediately rebuy it themselves, giving them a paper gain or income that could be remitted to the treasury in a similar fashion. St. Martin did this just a few years ago. Don't at me saying this is fake. Go read the paper yourself. The interesting thing is that this playbook comes right at the announcement of Stephen Miram joining the Federal Reserve in the empty seat. He's the current chairman of the Council of Economic Affairs, one of Trump's good buddies, and he's been known to be a Bitcoiner, tweeting things like, Bitcoin fixes this. Could he be the one putting together a plan in order to buy Bitcoin in a budget neutral way? Gold built the old financial system and Bitcoin will build the next one. So it makes sense that they would revalue gold to buy Bitcoin. It's just a better asset. I mean, you can't tariff Bitcoin like they just did with gold to Switzerland.
On some of the other big news from today, a lot has certainly happened on this Friday, but one of those is what's going on in the gold market right now. You have the Trump administration ruling that gold bars will be subject to tariffs as well, these reciprocal tariffs, so imports of gold will be tariffed, and that's really sending shockwaves through the gold ecosystem. Gold and Bitcoin are also often compared to one another. Bitcoin called digital gold, for example. I wonder if you think this has any ripple effects, positive or negative, for Bitcoin.
It does. Bitcoin is digital gold. It's going to accelerate the migration of capital from physical gold to digital gold. Bitcoin lives in cyberspace. No tariffs in cyberspace. The big appeal of Bitcoin is it's not physical. It doesn't have weight. You can settle anywhere with anybody in a few minutes. And so gold has always been too heavy, too slow, and you can't really ship it across an ocean. And if you do, now you're getting tariffs. So I really think it just reminds everybody why the digital version of gold is better than actual physical gold. And I think it's going to catalyze a new wave of institutional adoption of Bitcoin. All
right. Crypto is stateless. It's hard to tariff. Michael, have to leave it there. Really enjoyed speaking with you, though. That is Strategy Executive Chairman Michael Saylor.
The U.S. government understands that Bitcoin is an incredibly important strategic asset. Natalie Brunell just had a great conversation with the Fox Business team talking about that we're at an inflection point, that Bitcoin is one of the only assets the United States government recognizes to get us out of this deficit that we're in right now.
I think we have crossed an inflection point. I think Bitcoin is here to stay, and it will be a strategic reserve asset for the country, and it does not threaten the U.S. dollar. In fact, they're prioritizing stable coins right now because they want to extend dollar dominance and provide us with more demand for U.S. Treasury debt, because these stable coins have to be backed one-to-one with cash reserves or short-term treasuries. That's going to extend the dollar globally, and those stable coins have really helped a lot of people in other nations that face far worse currency crises and far worse inflation that we have here in America. But Bitcoin is going to be that pristine savings technology and capital that corporations are looking at to put on the balance sheet to strengthen against the debasement that we know is going to come. We know they're going to have to print. We know that the deficits are going to continue. And so Bitcoin is the one thing immune to that. It's the one thing no one can print.
And if Bitcoin is the only thing that the government can't print, or you can't inflate or manipulate, then why in the heck would you sell it? Don't. Work with a leader like Ledn in Bitcoin-backed loans to unlock liquidity in your Bitcoin without selling your Bitcoin. Borrow against your appreciating Bitcoin for your decreasing fiat. The process is simple. Apply for a loan and get your account funded in less than 24 hours without a credit check. If you want a $5,000 loan, you post $10,000 in Bitcoin collateral. It's held in custody away from everyone else's assets and won't be rehypothecated. Learn for yourself by going to learn.ledn.io/simply and getting started with a loan today. Again, it takes less than just 2 minutes. They've done $9 billion worth of loans to over tens of thousands of customers. You're in safe hands. Get 0.25% off your first loan by going to learn.ledn.io/simply. One other thing is that gold can be confiscated when you go to a border. Try taking gold with you the next time you fly on an airplane. But with Bitcoin, you just have to know or remember 12 or 24 words. That's novel. That gives you sovereignty. That gives you a sense of peace and control. Well, you can only have that peace and control if you actually take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Don't do it alone. Get a coach. I promise you, you won't regret scheduling a free 30-minute consultation with the team at the Bitcoin Way. They will help you understand how to take self-custody of your Bitcoin step by step, easily, privately, safely, and securely, so that you can When the time comes, be sovereign over all of your assets. Go to thebitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin to schedule your free 30-minute consultation. All right, let's finish with the rest of the segment that Natalie had with the Fox Business team. We are so early into Bitcoin.
And I look at crypto and AI, Natalie, in the same vein to a certain degree. These are things that President Biden and his administration were shying away from, whereas President Trump is saying they're not going anywhere. I want us to be number one.
This industry is no longer fringe. It is foundational. We are really reimagining how value is stored and also moved in the 21st century. And what I'm most happy about is that the White House is actually recognizing that the most important innovation in crypto is Bitcoin. It is the core asset in this new monetary system. And they're recognizing things like the essential need for the ability to self-custody, because that is so in line with the American value of property rights. And the White House report on digital assets this week also said that the government is looking at plans to accumulate Bitcoin. They even mentioned a term that we have in the Bitcoin space called stacking sats, which is slowly accumulating Bitcoin, not thinking about the daily price moves, but slowly accumulating a meaningful amount to serve strategically in our reserve.
Quick before I get to everybody else on this, because you are the expert. When it comes to the Trump administration and its strategy, the more ubiquitous Bitcoin comes with respect to its usage out there, does it become less likely that the government or the central bank would ever look to make Bitcoin, its strategic, its currency in that way? Are the two things separate? If it becomes mainstream in the way that it is, then you won't use it in that way? Or can they coexist? If we get another president like Joe Biden, can they come back and say, you know what, we're going to get rid of the dollar?
I think we have crossed an inflection point. I think Bitcoin is here to stay, and it will be a strategic reserve asset for the country, and it does not threaten the U.S. dollar. In fact, they're prioritizing stable coins right now because they want to extend dollar dominance and provide us with more demand for U.S. Treasury debt, because these stable coins have to be backed one-to-one with cash reserves or short-term treasuries. That's going to extend the dollar globally, and those stable coins have really helped a lot of people in other nations that face far worse currency crises and far worse inflation that we have here in America. But Bitcoin is going to be that pristine savings technology and capital that corporations are looking at to put on the balance sheet to strengthen against the debasement that we know is going to come. We know they're going to have to print. We know that the deficits are going to continue, and so Bitcoin is the one thing immune to that. It's the one thing no one can print.
I talk to you all the time. We talk to you. We ask you questions. We learn. I got to say, and I'm embarrassed to say, but I'll be honest with everybody, Gary, I still don't really understand it. So if I really don't understand it, it's hard to get in as an investment, but yet I watch it just keep moving higher and higher and higher. And I'm thinking to myself, if there is not an aspect of my portfolio that's invested in crypto in some way, I am losing out.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I've been saying since day one, I don't understand. I don't know what the meaning of it is. All I can tell you is, as an asset, the price has just been going up, up, and up. Yeah, it had a 75% drop in the last bear market. I'm thinking that's it, it's over, and right back. But I do worry the next bear market in the NASDAQ that it's going to come down because it is an asset, and the fear and greed factor. What I don't understand when I hear, I think it's Saylor that says it's going to 13 million in price. These are the things I don't understand. But look, I've watched you on TV for a while with big smile on your face, and you've been right as rain. I can't argue the point. I never argue against price.
Can I just say two things? Number one, Bitcoin priced in the S&P 500. The S&P is down 85% priced in Bitcoin. You're super early. We're all very early to Bitcoin, and I say that because it is a $2 trillion market cap competing with equities, bonds, gold, real estate, which are hundreds of trillions of dollars of wealth. If we just reached 20 trillion, which is gold, that's over $1 million per Bitcoin.
But there's no earnings, no sales, no product, no service.
That's a feature, not a bug. Look at the tariffs, right? No chairman of the Fed, no CEO, no earnings.
30 seconds.
You're winning.
Most people don't even understand Bitcoin, but they're starting to recognize. For people that don't understand it, that's your alpha. Michael Saylor says, buy something that everybody needs, no one can stop, and most people don't know about right now. We're still so early here. There's so much room to go and to grow. We've got people like Matt Hogan, the CIO of Bitwise, talking to countries about buying Bitcoin these days.
I think it's the same growth curve, just at different phases. It's an exponential growth curve. It's just that the sort of bank wirehouse institutional curve is so far down that now the doubling is very visible, right? Like we've seen a steady acceleration. We're past the hockey stick point. I think nation states are moving in that direction, right? It's not just El Salvador now. We had Pakistan a little while ago. We have Bitwise is talking to multiple sovereigns. We had Abu Dhabi. We've had a few others. I think it's moving in the right direction. We're just earlier in the doubling phase. But, look, I think if the U.S. actually buys Bitcoin, I can't imagine what that does to the price or to the game theory of other countries moving into the space. I think it would be. I don't think that's priced into the market at all.
Keep things simple. Here's a simple thesis. Gold, which was hard money for the past several thousand years, outperformed the S&P 500 by almost double over the last 25 years. And that's because it's a scarce asset that's measured in a debasing currency. Well, Bitcoin is the new digital gold, the gold for the 21st century and beyond. It's more scarce and it's actually built for the modern world and society that we're moving towards. Don't overcomplicate the trade. Even gas stations like Sheetz are willing to give you up to 50% off of certain goods by paying in Bitcoin. That means they think it's valuable. Times are hard. Employment is plummeting. Prices are rising. What are you using to protect yourself and your family? The best answer is Bitcoin. Front run the government, front run all of these 401k providers in getting into Bitcoin. We're going to see about $1.2 trillion worth of capital flow into this asset class from these two things alone. Don't overcomplicate the trade. One of the ways that you can stay sane and not overcomplicate things in bull markets where you have rips and roars and crashes is by connecting with Bitcoiners in real life. You'll tend to see that the Bitcoiners in real life are as calm and cool as the other side of the pillow when you meet them in person. Don't miss your chance to come meet a bunch of Bitcoiners in person at the largest mining expo in Dallas, Texas, from November 11th through November 13th. Mining Disrupt is a conference that you won't want to miss. Get 20% off by using the promo code SimplyBitcoin. I hope you got some value out of today's episode. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.